Right, because they're used to the the colors,
which is just bizarre to me.
Well, okay, so here, let me
maybe I'm wrong.
Let me give you my thesis, right? My thesis is people are looking
incorrect. Okay, go ahead.
Right. Welcome to Studio Beancan's drawing board segment. These are collections of musings, thoughts, arguments caught on tape while recording the time-lapse videos and put together just for you. Think about this as the Beancan scrap pile. I hope you enjoy it. Let's go. Let's do it.
Oh, by the way, I think last week I said I was disappointed with Lore Olympus. The
formatting.
The formatting. That is true for volumes 1, but I did take a look at volume 5 and it has gotten better.
They probably started planning for that.
Yeah. They started knowing their books are coming out, so they drew,
definitely like, it reminded me of when Jeff Smith's Bone first came out. I don't like the volumes 1 and 2 of the coloring, but as the series went on, the coloring does get pretty good.
Yeah.
So, a lot of it's just,
figuring it out while you're drawing.
Figuring it out.
Book. Yep.
And still, I do think the black and white's the best way to read them.
As I go experiment with like the next Cloud Town, I was messing with grease pencil and do that stuff. One thing I'm worried about is I don't want to chase animation. I'm worried that I'm just complicating stuff when like one of the things that's elegant about comics is like you could literally do anything with a pen and a paper. And some of it is just building that skill. Like anyone theoretically can draw anything. And experimenting with grease pencil is cool, but the question is, am I like just going after shiny objects instead of just like, if the story's insanely good, almost nothing else matters.
It is good to have like quick animations for social media, I think.
Yeah, but there's also more and more apps that can kind of semi-animate a drawing or whatever.
What is a grease pencil?
Oh yeah, so grease pencil is a plugin for a software which allows you to do. Remember that cereal box I showed you?
For Blender.
Oh, it's like a Blender thing.
Yeah.
It's their 2D kind of application within.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I need to fiddle with it more, but the question is, am I chasing things that are like video game design and animation instead of just making the best comic? And that's something to be mindful of, I think, as I experiment.
I think, though, that putting different stuff that you have knowledge about into comics is interesting because it's kind of like its own form of mixed media within comics. Yeah. Kind of like how in the 90s, like for Stray Toasters, Bill Sienkiewicz would like glue something on the piece of paper and then scan it, and it's like something on top of that instead of a drawing. So I think that's just like a new way of doing mixed media and comics and doing new things, which I think is cool, if anything.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing I was thinking is like, you know how some manga have like the first 2 pages color? I could have like the first 2 pages like semi-animated or something.
It is interesting that for whatever reason I keep hearing from certain retailers, a lot of retailers saying like people in the United States don't buy American black and white comics.
They don't?
In general.
Yeah.
But manga is the best-selling comic
in the US.
And it's all black and white. And is it because of the gray tones, or
no? It's because of the quality associated with it. Because American black and white comics is a different audience, and
there's something that the American industry is doing wrong.
Well, I think that manga does know that the production is going to end up being black and white. I think that has something to do with it, is that like growing up, even as a manga artist, you kind of have grown up with an industry that is all black and white comics.
Right. And they never.
So you're probably just picking up on what that industry
I think there's an expectation, like the reader or collector has an expectation, and the expectation for manga is that it is going to be in black and white. The expectation for American books is that it's is going to be in color.
Right, exactly. So you're looking
there's a less value.
It's just, not less value. It's just a DVD.
I think if people do see a black and white book as less valuable than a color book.
Right, because they're used to the colors,
which is just bizarre to me.
Well, okay, so here, let me
maybe I'm wrong.
Let me give you my thesis, right? My thesis is people are looking
incorrect. Okay, go ahead.
All right. My thesis, I'm so hungry. I got to get out of here and eat food. I'm starting to get grumpy.
Want to get some food?
Yeah, but
Let's get food.
Hangry
I'm getting
podcast.
hangry. This is gonna be.
Hangry group.
I tried one of these.
Yeah,
and it actually wasn't bad.
Please let me explain. I think this is a legitimately good idea, and I want you to hear if you think so. So like, people are looking for a specific experience, right? And if they see something that deviates from that experience, they believe their likelihood of getting that will be less.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like, if you are writing a romance novel and you put a cover that looks like it's a action thriller, people are like, I don't think this looks good, I'm not going to buy it, right?
Uh-huh.
And so even early Miyazaki films, it didn't fit in a box. He had trouble finding an audience.
Marketing it, yeah.
Because he didn't have a pre-existing audience that was like, oh, this looks like the thing I've been looking for, until he built up enough stuff that he was his own genre, right? And so it's until there's something that breaks through, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was the black and white boom in America. So when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out in black and white, people were like, I love this. I want more things like this.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was also kind of tied to the... It was at the same time as the punk rock movement in the 80s. So it did get kind of incorporated into that. Because
and pop culture in general.
That was later. Like early on, I had a friend whose older brother had the original issues. And even then, people were like, yeah, this is already $100. And I was like, whoa!
Right.
But it was just so different.
Yeah.
And it did tie in to, like, the same people that were into... older kids who were into Teenage Turtles were also into Dead Kennedys.
Yeah.
And
you know,
Misfits, whatever.
And that's what I think it's going to be.
Band.
There are black and white comics, but they're going to have to be different than either in America. They're either going to have to be spot on either or totally different and break through and build that thing. I don't know if I'm going to do
the storytelling is very, you know, I just think people are more... one of the reasons I think manga does so well is the storytelling is so energetic.
Yeah. Also, one of the reasons it does so well, it's the best-selling stuff from the most productive
that's true,
economy. It's like, why do Hollywood movies do great all across the world? It's because we are the biggest film location.
We're the Hollywood country. That's where the industry is, the movie industry.
And Tokyo's the Hollywood of comics. So, like, if you
true.
have a backlog of decades of the best comics from the biggest industry, it took a long time. Like, it was really a struggle to get Americans to even give it a chance. But, like, once you did, it's just printing money.
And that was Akira that made it popular.
That was the first... That was one of the first big movies that
made people
came out, because it came out at the same time as the Marvel adaptations that came out through Epic.
But it was not just that. It was a concerted effort.
But even before that, there was Robotech that got released. That was a mashup of 3 different popular animes: Macross, Southern Cross, and Mosquito. And then even before that, it was Yamato, the Space Battle Cruiser Yamato, or whatever it's called.
What year was that?
That was in the late 70s, early 80s. It was Star Blazers.
Yeah.
And then before that, it was Battle of the Planets.
But
did
you're
those,
talking about animes.
Yeah, these are all animes.
But the point is, like, with Japanese comics,
it grew.
Like,
it was,
So Viz Media in America exists as a collaboration between 2 companies that are in direct competition in Japan.
Right.
They did that because it was a long shot to try to get Americans to read Japanese comics, but it was worth investing in. And for many years, they were, like, not a substantial business. But when things are substantially different than what you're used to in your expectations, it's just harder to get people to give it a shot.
It's also, like, once the graphic novel industry got established, that's when manga specifically could really take a foothold. Because it's the takabans that people read here.
But it's also the weeb culture and, like, the animes stopping and the comics continuing.
Yeah, that's true too. But
COVID.
No one, I don't remember anyone, I still don't think people buy the actual releases of Shonen Jump. Very small number of people, but everyone...
They did try it.
They did try it, but that wouldn't...
collection.
But people will get the collection.
Right.
And once we had the graphic novel market established,
that's when manga started kicking off.
That's really started kicking off.
That's a good point.
Many factors to the popularization of manga in Western culture.
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting. I'm just getting so fucking hungry. I'm gonna stop recording.
What?
That was a good talk.
This is wasteful.
I'm getting so. So, like, if you theoretically had super clean vector art, like a clean
fit with the font,
potentially, but yeah, it's always just about like,
There are comics that do it good. I think Ultra Mega does.
Do they
pretty,
have?
Yeah, I'm pretty.
Ultra Mega is beautiful.
They have some pretty good vector fonts. A lot of the Skybound books.
They're really stylized.
Like Void Rival, it has some vector fonts in it that look good. But other books, it just doesn't work, and it's a little disappointing.